Hello, everyone. I just got out of the shower. I've been doing my self-care night, Friday night, and I don't go out anymore, so that'll spoil me. My hair is all wet. So I figured I'd finish my little beauty routine while I was talking to y'all. Um, give a minute. Maybe some people want to come on here. I miss y'all coming on and talking to me. Uh, I have a couple of questions. Actually, I have quite a few that people have emailed me, and I'm going to go over two of them. I'm hearing a car alarm going off outside. It's not mine. I don't recognize it. But anyway, I'll go over these two, and then maybe do another one. And I like to title them that way. If somebody's looking through and needing answers, then they can look at the title of the video and automatically go to that one instead of me just putting it's a Q&A, and I mean, that could be anything. You'd have to watch every Q&A. Although most YouTube creators would say, well, that's a good way to get everybody to watch your videos. They don't know where the question or where the question is that they're wanting the answer to. So they'd have to watch them all to find it. Well, I'm just not that way. I'd rather just have it on there, and two, it helps me on the actual ones that I'm trying to help the newer witches or sharing my ideas on how to do things. When I see the question that's put out there, depending on how many hits each one gets, and I'll know where everybody's the least experienced or the least knowledgeable about a subject, and then I'll know where to go with my videos if I'm doing that. You see what I mean? It's kind of a reference book to me, but I'm gonna run and get a pop right quick. I'll be right back. Oh, I drink too much pop. Oh my God, y'all, if this pandemic don't get over and I don't get to get out and go do things, I mean, I could still walk, but it's just too cold for me. I as most of you know that's watched me for a while, I have heart issues. So walking is excellent for me. But in my area of town, there's a lot of loose dogs. I mean, you see a lot of them. I mean, they belong to people. They have collars on, but they're not in their yards where they're supposed to be. And I don't want to be out there. You see it on the news all the time about people walking down the road and just getting attacked by a dog. Well, I don't want that to happen to me. And I don't want to walk around with my 45 outside. I mean, that, you shouldn't have to do that. But I'm getting fat, y'all. I'm getting so fat. I mean, you have to understand from the time my entire life, I was tiny. I mean, I might have weighed $1.05, 105 pounds as a grown woman. During both of my pregnancies, 9 months, I only weighed like 135 pounds. I mean, I was just I've always been really small. And now I'm pushing 160. I just can't believe it. God, that's just something I never in my life thought I'd ever have to worry about would be my weight. But, sitting around the house and you get bored and you eat. And, anyway, neither here nor there. Just telling y'all how I was feeling here lately. Okay, now, I don't know if I've even went over this before on videos. Why is my magic not working? Okay, I'll just read out what she wrote. I have been practicing witchcraft for almost 3 years, but hardly any of my spells work. It's kind of hard to read this, but hardly any of my spells work. Am I doing something wrong? How can I fix it? Okay, it don't even matter what the rest of it says. Okay. First of all, now usually I would use the excuse that they're young witches, but being in the craft for up to 3 years, or around 3 years, you should have your spellcasting down to an art. Pardon the pun. There's something wrong. If your spells aren't working now, and I don't care what any other witch says. If every witch tells you that every single one of their spells work and have always worked, I would look at them twice, because that's just not the way it is. As I've said before, some things just aren't meant to be the way we want them to be, or that we're throwing it out into the ethers to become. And there's reasons behind that. We don't know them at the time. We are very, very powerful creatures, but we are not more powerful than the universe. So some things are just not going to be given to you, and it's not because you're a bad witch. I mean, in the sense that you're not casting right, anything like that. It's just that it's not meant to be. Now, if this happens all the time, then you're doing something wrong. Your intent isn't there. I believe in correspondences, like, a lot of times you'll go by the moon phases and you'll have certain colors of candles, and you have all the things necessary to cast that specific spell, but it still doesn't work. Then it's just not meant to be. And it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it is, but it's not. Hi, Lady Blind Wolf. How you doing, sweetheart? But if you're, like I said, if you get 1 out of 10 spells that work, you're doing something wrong. You're going to have to work on your own craft. You're going to have to sit down. Now, this is something I can tell you what I would do. I would go back, reorganize myself, work on my intent. I'm telling you, if you work on that, because the things that you have around you, as I've said, your candles, your athame, crystals, anything that you use in your workings, they're just tools. they help the magic. They aid you. They are not everything your intent is. So you have to work on that. Tired. Hope to get out to get your stuff tomorrow. You been busy? Is that why you're so tired? But yeah, you're just gonna have to work on your intent. And I don't know if you use it didn't say you didn't say if you used a certain goddess or not. Uh some people don't use a goddess, or god. The Wiccans, I believe they believe in duality. So they'll have the god and the goddess, which is the symbolism of the athame and the cup. Um, that's just how they do things. But I very rarely work with a male deity. Um, and it's not because I'm against it by no means. I have the one goddess, Hecate, and that's pretty much all I need. I don't. Uh, I just don't call on another one. Now I have called on Bridget. To me, Bridget and Hecate are a lot. Um, the only difference is, Hecate is Greek and Bridget is Irish. And so, me being Irish, then sometimes I'll work with Bridget. Um, I think I've done a couple with Athena and a couple with I can't think of them all right now, but I have worked with other ones. I just don't do it on a regular. And sorry, I'll get this done in a minute. I'm doing my beauty routine, Lady Bible. It don't help me, does it? Cooking, cleansing, sleep schedule is a mess. I know, girl. Of course, I've always been a night owl. Of course, what I do in nursing isn't really needed on the night shift unless you work in assisted living somewhere. And so I'm kind of screwed when it comes to that. I mean, I have to. Oh, okay, I think I'm done. And I got a call the other day. Well, I actually just turned down one job. And I shouldn't be turning anything down right now because, well, I need to be working full time, but it was just too far. Um, it paid really well, but it was just too far. I mean, I'm looking at, and I know people in big cities do this all the time, just driving across town, and being in traffic. It just still takes them 2 hours to get to work. But I mean, I'm driving nonstop, an hour there and an hour back, or a little over an hour each way. And my car is a 2013. It's really good gas mileage, but that's just a damn good way to wear out your car really fast. And I don't know. There was a few other things. I may have made the trip but there were some other things that I just knew that I wasn't going to like working there, and so bowed out gracefully. Some of the girls that I worked with, that week or so, were just, I'm sorry, but they were just bitches. You know, they were the type that if you asked them a question, it was just like asking them for their front teeth, or um, they'd answer me, but they'd be really shitty about it. And I could just tell that wasn't going to work for me for very long. I'd be either popping them in the mouth, or the very least, uh, getting into an argument with about them, when that would be, or getting into an argument with them, and that would be very unprofessional, and I could lose my license for that. So it was just best for me to go on down the road. Too hot up here to sleep. Too hot? You mean like heater wise? Man, it's fucking cold as hell here in Oklahoma. My kid got a job offer, so we were moving. Oh, where are you gonna move to? Oh yes, those nursing home clicks can be a bitch. Yeah, and I don't mind. I don't care if they have their clicks. I'm not there to be in a clique with them. I don't care if I ever talk to them outside of work. That's just how I am, because I know that they are. And, they get jealous of you, and then before you know it, they're setting you up for stuff, especially on that med cart. I mean, you got to be careful. Somebody don't like you, and they, take a med out, and you accept that cart without counting it or whatever. I mean, unless you've been a med aid, you don't know what I'm talking about. But different town, same state. And we're all a mess going on around here. Kind of made up our minds for us. Yeah. Well, and that's a good thing. You need to be where it's safe and you're comfortable. Your home is your sanctuary. And if you're not happy there and um, worried about your safety, then vamonos. But I know it's not easy just to get up and move. I know that. But anyway, yeah, as far as your magic not working, you're going to have to work on yourself. And honestly, some people just have to work harder at the craft. Some people just have it pretty much built into them from birth, and they pick up on it and do it really easily and quickly, while others will struggle with it. And eventually, some may just decide that it's not for them, and it may not be. I mean, I've always wanted to fly a jet. I want to do it so bad. But other things have stopped me, and health wise, I know I can't do it. I have vertigo. Yeah, that's what I need to be up in a plane, especially flying it. But it's just a dream I used to have, and that was the end of that story. That's what's funny is they haven't even rented that first floor apartment yet, and those people moved out right after things. Well, yeah, they may not. I mean, money's really tight and all that right now too. So people may not just have the money to move into it. Or either that, or your spell is kind of keeping everybody away for a while. But I'm not telling y'all to not, or to give up on your craft. I'm not saying that. Or trying to become a witch. You could work on it your entire life. I mean, whatever you want to do. But if your spells don't ever work, then there's definitely something wrong, and you have to go back. I'm not going to go through everything. I have all kinds of videos. But I'm telling you, there's something. It's probably something wrong with your intent. I mean, it's kind of like, I know this is a badass metaphor, but it's kind of like, if your car's having issues, you take it to a mechanic. He looks through everything, and it might be something very simple that's causing it. It might be something big. You know yourself. You can analyze yourself, and um, as far as I'm telling y'all, I don't care what anybody else says. This is how I believe, and this is how I was taught by some very old and very wise witches at a very young age. You do not have to have all that stuff to make your magic work. Yes, they help. They assist in the energies, and they assist in getting you in the mood to perform your craft, to perform your spell. But your magic comes from within you and out. It's all right here. And if you don't have that intent there and the knowing, to dare, to will, to know, to be silent, remember those. But anyway, okay. I mean, and if there's something I can help you with to maybe some exercises you could do, then let me know. Go ahead and email me again, and I may do a video on it. I don't know. But there are exercises that you can do, because I know with me, yeah, I'm an extremely hyper person. So it's not, that's why I couldn't meditate for so long, because I just cannot sit still that long and be calm. You know what I mean? I mean, it was just really hard for me to do that. Sorry, I gotta let my hair down so it can dry. Um, so it's just practice. That's why they call it a practice. Now not everything's always going to be perfect. There are exercises that you can do with visual. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. I had to put my glasses on to read what you said. Yeah. I've gotten a lot better at it. It just wasn't something that um, I ever aspired to do. I mean, uh, I'm not one of those that go and meditate before I perform a spell. Um, I just don't do that. um, what my deal is, whenever I'm feeling the strongest at the thought process that I'm going through to come to the determination that I'm going to do this spell, when I feel my energy in my body and in my mind up, then that's automatically when I go do it. I don't want to go meditate and sit there and calm down and think, well, that's going to take at least 30 minutes. And by that time, I've already lost my intention, the willpower or the want to go in there and do my spell. Now, it may work better for other people in other ways, but that's just me. I'm not telling you not to meditate. Meditate all day long. I don't care. But for me, like, I can be sitting here and I'm usually, like I said, thinking about that spell long before I do it. It could even be a week before I do it. And by the time I get in there to that altar, I know exactly what I'm wanting to do, what I'm wanting to conjure up or conjure out, whatever I'm doing. And I don't make any mistakes about it. But anyway, okay. that's enough on that one. Okay, the next question was, do I need separate altars and separate wands for different workings? No, you do not. uh, some witches, and if you have the room, um, more power to you. Go for it. Set up as many altars as you want. I don't see a problem with that. I'll probably have all kinds of different ones too, but the issue there is most people don't have that kind of room. You know, the witches that live in little 1-bedroom apartments, you know, they don't they can't put an altar up for this and that and have it sitting and all that. And it's a pain in the butt, to be honest. I know. Because most people, most witches like to have everything on that altar that pertains to that spell that they're doing at the moment. Oh yeah, I need to get back into meditating just when I started to get it. Yeah. Like I said, I've tried it and I'm getting a lot better at it. But I don't do it. I don't do it to perform spells or before spells or anything like that. I like to do it before I go to sleep or as I'm going to sleep. Seems to help me sleep a little better. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying. That's why I don't get off track. Yeah, most witches like to put on their altar what, you know, their correspondences would be for that spell, and that's all they have on there. I hope y'all know what I'm talking about in that manner. Like, right now, to say, my working altar, of course, has all my candles on it. It has my stand with my statue of Hecate and some things that I put up there for her, like stones, crystals, a snake skin, I believe I've got up there, a pinnacle, you know, things that you just give to your goddess. That is her altar. Now, if I was to work with another goddess, I use that same altar. It's been cleared through Hecate. She doesn't care that I use another goddess or that altar. I mean, it's just the altar is just is symbolism. You see what I'm saying? You now some people might say, well, you know, I would take down the statue of Hecate. Well, I don't do that. I don't ever take that off of there. Because to me, that would be demeaning her. It's like, okay, this is no longer yours. I don't need you right now, so I'm going to put this goddess up here. No, I don't do that. If I have a statue or some other representation of that goddess that I'm wanting to work with, then I will set that up there with Hecate. I don't ever take that off of there unless I'm, you know, picking it up for a second to smudge it or whatever, you know, but it doesn't leave that altar. That's hers. Good question. Depends on what day is you're working with, because from what I've heard, if you're working with Santa Muerte, for example, she has to have her own altar, or she cannot share an altar with another female deity, only male one. Oh, well, I don't know about Santa Muerte. She's not one of my goddesses. No. This is just, I have Hecate, and she does not care if you use it for a second. And I mean, you could set up a separate one, because all you really need is a depiction of the god or goddess that you're wanting to work with at the moment. Put, one up there, and it could be just a little cardboard box. You don't need much to create just a really quick altar. I have two of them in my witchy room, as I call it. I have the one big main altar that is Hecate's, and then I have another smaller one over in the corner that, if I like, I've worked with Hades on it, and I've worked with Bridget, and I've worked with Athena. Just the ones that I do on the side are over there on that altar. But if I'm not set, if it's not set up to work, then it's still got like my crystal ball on it. It's got candles on it. It's still set up. But it's really all about how you want to do it. Now, like I said, I'm not gonna take her statue down and do that and all her stuff. But like I said, with me, I have that other one that I could just stick, one of the other statues on, or whatever, whoever I'm working with, and then I don't worry about it. If you don't want to use that same altar, don't. I mean, some people will use the same altar. They'll literally tear the altar down, take everything that's on it off, cleanse it off, then put back on it what they're gonna, what they need for that specific spell or rite that they're doing. To me, that's just too much work. Why do that? I mean, but you can if you want to. I'm just a lazy witch, I guess, because I don't like doing that. The only time I take that altar down, completely down, is when I'm cleaning it. Corn dollies, yeah. You talking about as for symbols of the goddess or the god that they're working with? You don't even have to have a statue or, a physical representation of them. You can put up stones, crystals, and candles that they like, just as we do our main deities. And for that matter, you don't need any of it. As I've said before, they don't need any of it. I can go right here in my backyard, stand in the middle of my yard, and do a spell. Anything I ever do, though, I always call on Hecate. I don't hardly ever do anything without her. In fact, I can't think of anything I have done without her. I mean, as far as the spell goes. Now, my rites and stuff, I call on her just because I like her there. It's not necessarily that I'm wanting anything from her. That's just my way of visiting with her, Sometimes I just miss my mama. But no, you don't have to have an altar set up for this and that, and like a divination altar and your working altar, and then a shrine, pretty much, or I'll just say shrine, to this and that, and then an ancestor altar, and before you know it, you've got 12 altars in your house. If you've got room for it, go for it. I mean, it ain't gonna hurt nothing, but I just don't have that kind of room. Yeah. Yeah, you can use anything you want as long as it's anointed that way, you know. Um, uh, I don't know. Now, I always say do as you will, and that's what I mean. But I'm telling you, some of these newer witches coming up are getting on my damn nerves. They are going way overboard. They're way out there. They're not following any kind of standard. I mean, there are certain things that you need to follow in witchcraft. To me, those are just, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't like bashing anybody else's stuff, but I have heard some really odd, weird crap here lately. It's like, oh my gosh, and there's very, very rare times, like 1 in 1 trillion times, that somebody tells me something. Will I ever say, don't do that? But, some of these young ones are getting in there and they're just thinking, yay, I'm a witch and I can do this. Well, first of all, they're not witches, they're idiots. I hate it when somebody that acts like that calls themselves a witch. It makes all the rest of us look horrible. They're not witches, they're idiots. And I mean, these are young kids, you know. It's like, what the hell do you know about being a witch? You don't know diddly squat, or you wouldn't be out here doing what you're doing. So, I mean, it is what it is. We're always going to have idiots like that, but I wish they'd stay the hell out of my craft. They annoy me. Anyway, I'm not going to get off on that tangent. But and then the next question, I might as well throw it on here. I didn't put it in my title, but along with altars goes wands. Do I need a different wand for each spell? Are you crazy? Do you? I don't know what kind of witch you are, or what kind of witch you're wanting to be, but if you had a different wand for every different spell, do you realize how many wands you'd have? I can think of honestly at least 12 right up on top of my head, off the top of my head, that certain spells that people do all the time. That's not even including the stuff that other things that we do. And I'm not making fun of your question. Don't get me wrong. No, it's the same as the altars. I'm sorry. Now, and other witches may tell you something different. Now you can make you a wand, and when you're making that wand, you put that intent in there. Say, I don't know. We'll just reach for one. Health, for health. You're creating this wand for health. Okay. That is all this wand is going to be used for, is in health spells. Okay. That's fine. And same with the altars. If you have the time, the money, and the space, create all you want. But no, you don't have to have it. And I think that was your question. I have 2 wands, um, and they're actually pretty simple. Um, I need to show y'all that. I'll be right back. I've known people that have taken stems for roses, put crystals on them, and used those for less of them. Yeah, I mean, of course, that stem's eventually gonna rot. The only thing that I would say about that, or a reason that I may not do it that way, um, first of all, you put that crystal on there, you're wasting a crystal when that stem dies. And I don't like wasting my crystals. Um, I'm sure you can reuse it. You can, depending on what crystal it is. If it's clear quartz, yeah, it's easily cleared. But and I guess you could get one each time you wanted to cast a love spell. It's actually a really neat idea. Too bad the stem wouldn't live longer, or it don't rot. I don't think that I'd want to use something that is dying in a love spell. Seems kind of, contradiction in terms to me. Because the minute that uh, stem is cut from that bush or the plant of the rose, it immediately starts dying. So the symbolism there to me, as far as it being, the rose stem itself, I can see where they might get that. But then you also have to think of the fact that that stem is dying and you're trying to use it on a spell, which means it's getting weaker. It can't conduct that current. That's how my scientific mind thinks. I mean, the symbolism, I have never heard of anybody using a rose stem. I mean, it would be really nice if you used it right quick, but then you'd have to clip the rose, which is sad. I don't know. Like I said, everybody can do what they want. I'm just weird. I'm an older witch, and I'm not gonna go out there and kill a rose just to spell. Now, if somebody gifts me roses, I don't think they just don't sound like something I'd ever do. I'd use rose quartz. I do use rose quartz, but um, I don't know. But anyway, I'll show y'all just that. Okay. Now, I showed y'all this quite a while back when I was when it didn't have anything on it, nothing. This is what I've done to it so far. See, I've had this wand for, I don't know, 2 years, at least 2 years. And just the first part of this month, I just started doing something to it. Because, I mean, I explained that um, I'm so afraid of messing something up or not getting it right or not liking it and having to redo it that I just don't. Um, anyway, and at the top here, see, it's not perfect. This is my copper wire. And I didn't mean to put this much on there. I didn't want that much of my crystal covered up. But I couldn't get it to mash down all the way. It just would not go. And that bugs me. I'm a perfectionist. But then I got to looking at it and I thought, it's no big deal. It's still going to do the same job. It's still going to conduct the energy. So leave it alone. And then, of course, I'll put my copper here in the grooves. And I'm planning, can you see these little nicks right here? And then they're all on this part of the wand. I thought about, because this wood's hard enough. My other one's ash. My other wand is made of ash, and it's really light and very fragile wood. So I'm not going to be doing no drilling on that. But this, I can take my small drill bit and go in here and just put a little hole in there and, put some hot glue in there and glue my little, I have some quartz crystal chips in there, and I can put them, through in here on these, in these grooves. And I have some amethyst chips, but I don't know that I'll put the amethyst on there, because this will be another universal wand. I'll be able to use it for anything, and that's why I put the clear quartz on it. And that's why I'll probably put the clear quartz chips in the grooves inside. But now I have 2 wands just because I like wands. I like wands and brooms. Well, I like it all, but those seem to be my clique, my favorites. But I'm not, whenever I'm making this, the intent is not for just one specific thing. I'll use it for anything I decided I'm going to do that day or that evening or whenever, just whatever I want to do. But that's where I've gotten on it so far. I think the last time I showed it, none of this is on here. It's just a blank piece of wood. But yeah, I think it's working out pretty good. There was something else I was going to try to create the other day too, and I'm still working on my broom. As I've mentioned before, I've told y'all that I'm really afraid to do anything to her. I really am. I do not want to mess her up. She came a long ways to be with me. And when I say she literally flew over here, she did. She literally flew to me. She came from the Ukraine, and I don't want her messed up. I just don't. So I'm gonna have to think long and hard about that one. But you can have as much stuff as you want, if you have the room, and if you're a patient person like that. I don't want to have to. Usually, if I'm gonna do, sometimes whenever I'm getting ready to do a spell, I may not even be thinking about it, to be honest. Something just occurred to me, or I get an email, or one of my kids, or somebody else in my family that I think I need to help instantly, then everything's set up and ready to go, just the way I want it. I zoom in there, I do it right quick, and then, forget about it. But I don't have time to go in there and set that up. You know what I'm saying? I want it ready when I get ready to go in there. I'm just that way. It doesn't mean you have to have it that way. Every witch is different. I mean, you do things however you want, and I always say that, except for the way some of these are acting nowadays. Like harebrained ideas, and there's infinite possibilities. I understand that, but some of it, I can't even think of an example at the moment. There's so many flowing around in my head. But I can't think of one that I want to put out here right now. Well, and I think I've already even done a video on this, when they're talking about cursing the moon. Oh, I was livid when I heard that. I truly was. I was just beside myself. I was like, have you lost your mind? And I honestly, I was so mad. I could have just spit nails, acid. I don't even know where that damn idea came from, but after I got over being mad, then I just decided I'm just going to laugh at them. And that's the kind of crap right there that I'm telling you, I don't even like hearing. Because I'm telling you, these little fake witches can keep on till you piss the real ones off, and you're going to wish you'd have left shit alone. So I was vacuuming, giving them catnip. Some people are actually idiotic enough to curse the fake. Yeah, I think it was you that I was talking to about that. Are you kidding me? They've got to have lost their minds. They have to. We are powerful creatures. Don't get me wrong, but we are not near as powerful as the Fae, and there is not even any comparison to the moon. I mean, seriously, what the hell? Evidently, this is a bunch of TikTok witches or girls. I'm not even gonna call them witches. Um, their best bet would just be leave shit and leave people alone. I mean, nobody, no one's bothered me, but they're bothering my moon, my mother, and they better quit it. And it's not that I just don't even worry. I mean, like I said, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh my God, the audacity. And instead of getting upset about it, knowing, that there's no feasible way that that could ever happen, I should have just laughed about it. But just the idea, it was just the idea of how ignorant and just plain flat out stupid some people can be. I think a lot of it was cloud chasing, but the older, more intelligent witches are going to just sit back, have popcorn, drink. Yeah, because what people need to realize, you're not forced by no means to be on this path. In fact, uh, the ethers, your gods, goddesses, all our little magical and mystic uh, beings, they just may not have you on it if you're not serious about it. And they won't work with you. Your path will be dull, boring, just without any good events. Um, it'll just You're just going through the motions. Nothing's going to take place because they don't like you, and they welcome. It's hard for them them not to like you. So, and I don't even say like. I don't even think that they would. I don't think that it's a matter of like and dislike with them. I think they see right through you and see you as useless material. That's what I think. And if you're doing stupid shit like this, nothing. You're just making yourself look like a total idiot, especially in a witch community. I mean, I didn't honestly realize how much ignorance is out there until I started watching YouTube and actually got into the online community with the witches. And on the other hand, it's also given me ideas, the conversations with the true witches that I know. I mean, I enjoy that immensely. Because without it, I don't have anybody to talk to about this stuff around here. Oh, Bubba, watch the claws. Watch the claws. My big ass cat's down here wanting attention and he's scratching me. What are you doing? Silly boy. Silly boy. My hair's starting to dry and it will be all down in my face. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing it. I can just tell them that it's not going to work for them. It's just flat out not going to work for them. I just can't believe it. But I mean, I always say to each their own, but be smart about it. This doesn't give you, just because we say do as you will does not mean, you know, well, use common sense. I don't know, Lady Blind Wolf. And what's bad about it, where I think it's really toxic in the community, is that you have the younger witches coming up that are really interested in learning to become a witch, a successful and good witch. Not good as in, whoo, I do nothing wrong. That's all I'm saying. But you're well at being a witch. You're good at being a witch. And when they see these other, and they're girls about their age or guys about the same age, so it's a fad thing. And people can be easily led most of the time, and you can just see them trailing along behind these wannabes and idiots, and they're serious about the path, and they think these people are saying, oh, I'm a witch, do this, do that, and they're teaching them all the wrong things to do. I mean, you don't just wake up one morning and call yourself a witch and go out and try to draw down the moon or curse the moon. I don't mean draw down the moon. We do that. But I don't know. I don't know what the hell that was even all about. I was talking to Aiden about it. And I said, well, I guess I'm just going to have to watch it. I don't even know how to go on TikTok. I don't watch TikTok. I've heard too many bad things about that app. Not the app itself, but just about people that go on there. People go on there to blow their heads off on, social media, and just not a whole lot. The platform isn't monitored at all. It's kind of like a free for all there. So there's no telling what you'll see. And some people want to see that stuff, and that's whatever. I'm just not one that likes looking at that sort of thing. And I'm not going to sit here and watch it and be pissed off all night. Because, some idiot gets on there and says something that's completely wrong. And any true witch knows it's completely wrong. And, they're nationalizing this crap and making all the rest of us look like shit. That's what I don't like. I mean, that'd be like, I don't know, claiming that you're a Christian and going down and burning down churches. Because it's a new thing to do. These churches weren't built right. You just make some shit up and go burn that church down. That's how stupid, some of this is. I've seen that. Yeah, that one last video. I looked through your channel one time, and I seen that that TikTok thing that you got, and that was pretty neat. Where you have that music playing. Now that's some fun stuff. Pretty damn funny, must be honest. Yeah, I've watched. They're pretty funny. Is she going to get out my San Morty deck ring for Donald Trump? You gonna do that on national television? I mean, on on TikTok? I don't know if that's a smart move right now, though, Lady Bumble. I don't know. I mean, as high as tensions are right now in the United States for this or that, there's so many different things going on right now. Somebody may take that wrong, if you know what I mean. Before you know it, I guarantee you, if you do that, before you know it, everybody will be saying, well, Donald Trump's in all this trouble because the witches cursed him. And just because I just said that, somebody will probably watch this video and go, oh, there's an idea. I'll tell you, the human race honestly just completely astounds me how ignorant it can be at times. I honestly do not know how we have been in control of this world for all these years. We're actually pretty, mankind is pretty much stupid. They're smart, but they have no common freaking sense. Think I need to send you some more of my TikToks. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm just afraid to go on there because I know me, I'll get curious and I'll go surfing it, and then I'm going to run into shit that's going to tick me off. Oh, hence the name TikTok. It ain't like a clock, it's tick off. That can be a lip syncing app for the most part. Yeah. Um, I have seen some videos on YouTube that were sent over from TikTok. It has the TikTok emblem at the bottom of the video, and it showed 3 people in a car. One of them, well, this girl gets this gun out, and I don't even know why anybody be messing with a gun like that anyway, putting it, pointing at somebody if she claims she didn't think it was loaded. Well, first of all, why the hell are you going to have a gun in a car if it ain't loaded? We can do beat the hell out of somebody with it. Curse with besides he's his own curse. What, man? Did I miss something? There's nothing that any elder witch can do that man that has not already done. Oh, you talking about Trump? Well, I have my own views on that. I'll just, I'll say real quickly. Honestly, he hasn't done that bad, and I'm not even Republican. But honestly, you can tell he has actually tried to help the American people. He pissed off a lot of Congress, but that's what it's going to take. You got Congress out there, and the reason that Congress is put there is because we're not a dictatorship. We don't have just a prime minister or, should I say, a king or queen of our country that makes all the decisions without issue. So in reality, the president is really just a representative, the main representative of the United States. He does have the power, of course, like if Congress throws this and that out there, he can veto a bill. He does have that power. But Congress can also overrule him, believe it or not, in certain cases. It's kind of like, the best way I know how to describe it for those that don't know anything about government and politics. It's kind of like how the old Roman, when they had the arenas up, and just like you see on TV, you had the emperor, or the czar, whatever. The czar, that's Russia. You know what I'm saying? The like Caesar and Augustus and blah 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 blah. But you also had the Senate, and the Senate actually made all the decisions, and they put it for him to speak out, for the emperor or whatever. Trump, he says, "Oh, where's curse?" Yeah, but honestly, I mean, we could have had it a lot worse up there. Seriously. And to me, I've never been one that, whether Democratic or Republican, has never really mattered that much to me. I don't care. And I just don't care. As long as I know that your best interest is the United States and the people therein, within the United States, then I'm good with that. Do your job, do it well. What these people tend to forget is they work for us. Even though, they get paid a hell of a lot more money than any normal American makes. They're still under our employment. Our tax money pays their salaries. So for them, I don't know. Now, I can't go there. I just can't go there. I mean, this is one of those subjects that can go on forever, and still not ever get anything accomplished. And I was honestly a government and politics major, or I got an award from our governor here whenever I was in high school, my senior year. And then when I went to college, I took government politics, and actually one of the governors or senators of Oklahoma was my teacher in college. His wife was, and it was one of the senators, and that was my minor in college, was government politics, because I was damn good at it. But now my opinions are a lot different than most people's. But in the long run, what matters is what's best for the country and its people, as a whole. And that should be what's first and foremost in any president's mind. I mean, I have my own little ideas. Trust me, I could go on here and make a whole video on that. But that's not what this channel is about, so I better shut up. That's why, honestly, they say if you say that you're independent, like if you're an independent voter, most of the time you can't vote because you have to pick a side, and I don't like that. I don't like having to pick a side, because there's been some Republicans that I liked, and I thought, okay, they'll be fine in office. I'm okay with that. I don't vote for somebody just because they're a Democrat or a Republican and I'm one or the other. That shouldn't be why this whole system's screwed up. That shouldn't be why people vote. It should be because you watch their campaign, you agree with what they say, and you think that it's the best thing to be to be put in office for that time, for that term. Um, that's just not how it works. That's just not the way. I mean, it could be. I mean, people say automatically you're stereotyped. If you say you're Democrat, automatically people think that they know exactly what you're going to do if you're in there as president. You're going to give all this money away. You're going to do this. Democrats are um, basically the mushy side of government. We're the mama. We're the ones saying, okay, honey, here, I'll give this to you. And we're the givers. And while on this hand, some people will say, well, and the Republicans are like dad. They're like, no, I told you not to do this. Okay, because you did that, I'm going to cut off your allowance. They're the punishers, or the people that aren't going to give you crap. And to me, there is a middle area. That is where the independent goes. I should have the right to choose whichever one I think at the time. Just forget that they're Democrat or Republican. Which one's going to be the best one? Which one has the best ideas for our country? And I think would be better in that White House. Why do we even have to have Democrat and Republican? Yes, I know why we have them, but really, it's just people with different opinions. Well, that's everybody. They just happen to be only two groups that were created. Well, three if independent. And I guarantee you, if you claim you're independent, you can't vote. I hate that. I don't like that. They're messing up because you have to register Democrat or Republican before you vote. You can't say I'm independent and go vote. If you can, I don't know anything about it. But anyway, I'll get off that. I told you. I told you. Get me started on that. But I'm telling y'all straight up from a witch, a very old and true witch. If you just sit back and look at the whole picture on what's going on in this world right now, you better get to your altars. And it wouldn't hurt to know some of the old ways, how to survive. You just don't ever know what's happening. I mean, people have plumb lost their, they've gone and lost their minds for sure. And a lot of bad stuff's going on. I mean, it's bad enough that we had to worry about the pandemic, and still do. And then you got people storming the White House. That's pretty scary in and of itself. I mean, the White House is supposed to be one of the, if not the most protected building in the United States of America. I mean, I haven't ever watched the whole video. I don't know if they claim that they wanted to be a tour group and went through there, or if they literally just, scaled the walls and went in. I haven't looked at all that. I don't know all the facts about that. All I know is that the White House was infiltrated by American citizens. It doesn't matter what they were there for. They were uninvited, evidently. So, who's guarding the White House? Seriously? Where's all them extremely heavy paid Secret Service men that guard the president? Where were they all? How'd these people get in there? They literally climbed over the gate, walked, went into the White House. There was a picture of one of them sitting in Nancy Pelosi's friggin' chair. Or somebody, I think that's what it said. Don't quote me. sitting in a chair there in the White House. Looked like, at a desk with his feet all up on it. Don't make you feel very safe, huh? I mean, if somebody can get through the White House that easily, shit, they'd have a lot harder time trying to get in my house, in my home, if I didn't want them in here and they were uninvited. I guarantee that. Somebody breaks in this house, well, I'm just sorry about their luck. I'm just sorry about their luck. That just would not be good to do. And I'm kind of a paranoid person anyway, because I didn't have the best growing up childhood. I mean, I was around some pretty rough people, and I've grown up around some pretty rough people, and I've seen a lot of bad things go on, and I just don't play, I just don't play. And yes, I know very, very well, very much know how to shoot a gun. Is that how they got in there? They just blatantly climbed over the damn walls. Oh my God. Now, shit like that makes us the laughing stock of the world. Every country leader in every country is probably laughing their asses off at us. Look, them silly Americans can't even protect their own White House. And I'm sorry. These are my ideas, and thank goodness for the First Amendment, freedom of speech. Even though I've noticed here lately, especially on public platforms, they're really muffling that, right? To mention all the people that were up there acting stupid, not even wearing masks so they can further spread COVID. Yeah. And do we even know what it was for? I haven't even heard why they did it. I don't get it. I don't get why they did it. All I know is that bunch of a group of people. Now I'm sorry, it may have been because they were overpowered. Excuse me, the Secret Service has guns. And that's what I was going to get at. The United States is built on a whole different principle than any other state or any other country. And we know that. And I guess everybody knows why, the Europeans came to this, what we now call the United States of America. I'm not going to give a big old history lesson here. The Boston Tea Party, for example, I'll just mention that, when tea taxes were so outrageously high that people just started dumping their tea overboard, throwing it out in the bay, and murdering that poor police officer with a fire extinguisher. See, I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear about that. The only person up until just now that I heard that got killed was a girl that was one of the rioters or one of the whatever they were doing. I call them rioters. That's not protesting to me. That's rioting. Well, they do hit him with it or spray him with it. That's sad. I didn't know that. And what's funny if you can say anything about this whole damn thing's funny at all, is these people were on camera. They have them, every single one of them, on camera. Hello, prison time, federal prison time. Yeah, and just push the cops out of the way. See, and I'm telling you, that's because nowadays the cops are afraid to use their weapons. Because they're, and I know I'm not going to get into all that hullabaloo. Some police officers are corrupt. Yes, it's been proven. We all know that. I've watched several films with, because I have worked in law enforcement, and I've watched a lot of films on what not to do during situations. And I'm finding more and more of these videos. I can still sit here and pinpoint a lot of them going on. Like, nope, he shouldn't have reacted that way. He shouldn't have done it that way. He da 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 da. I mean, just nonstop. But I don't know. What it boils down to is some people, that's terrorism at its fullest, and on to the United States and a government building. There's so many wrongs with that, and so many reasons they should have been shot. At times, I honestly think America's too nice, and people know that. It's like, yeah, that cop's over there, or that Secret Service man has that weapon, but he won't use it. And they're afraid to anymore. They're afraid to defend themselves or what they're put out to do, because every time they use their weapon or shoot somebody or kill someone, then they're the ones that get in trouble for it. Well, that's a damn good reason right there to shoot somebody. I'm sorry. While it is the American right to protest in a calm fashion, in an orderly fashion, if you read, your amendments, and it says the right to assemble in peaceful protest. It doesn't say scale the White House walls, run in there as a threat. That's what you're feeling. You're being threatening in that way. You're trespassing. I mean, there was nothing peaceful about that. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but it would not have bothered me in the least if every one of them hadn't been shot. It just wouldn't. I mean, yeah, our government isn't perfect. No government is infallible. But I guarantee you, and I say this to everybody out there in the United States, if you do not like this country, get the hell away. Get out of here. Go away. Go move to a different country because you think it's so horrible here. You go to some of these other ones and see what the hell you're getting into. If you'd have pulled the shit that they just pulled at the White House, I guarantee you in other places, other countries, they would have been shot dead. Yes. Well, whoever did that should fry in the electric chair. Don't put him on friggin' death row for 30 years. Fry him. It's a good thing I'm not president. I guarantee you I'd stop a lot of this crap that goes on. Because I would create the punishment and I would implement it. Wouldn't be none of this, you're sentenced to death and you go sit on death row for 30, 35 years while American tax money clothes and feeds you and puts that roof over your head. I mean, it's not the best roof in the world, that's for sure. It's prison, but it's still a roof over your head. And our friggin' tax money pays for that. Kill them the next day. You've got, I mean, now some of these people I understand put on death row. Later on in time, they're proven innocent. I'm not talking about that stuff. But when somebody is proven beyond the shadow of a doubt guilty of these horrible crimes like killing, raping, and killing little 4-year-old girls, just out and out going and murdering an little old lady walking down the street for her purse, shit like that, we don't need those kind of people. We just don't. Put a bullet in their head. That's how I believe, and I'm sorry. That's just how I think about it. Some people not even in protesting, they were there videotaping everything for evidence, not to mention employees that were trying to get out. Yeah, see, that was a major threat. That could have been a very horrible circumstance for the employees. Another reason they should have been shot. It's just sad. I mean, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. But what are you going to do about it? You know? And what were they? And then, of course, now, I guess this is going to be a video about government politics. I didn't aim for it to go this direction, but since we're talking about it, I guess what started all that crap too was that Trump was on Twitter and said something, and I didn't read the tweet, so I don't know 100%. I haven't formed my own opinion, but from what I understand, some people took that as a go-ahead, like a green light to go ahead and storm the White House in retribution for him not getting reelected. First of all, as I said, you know, Trump has done a lot of good things, and he's been really excellent in this time of crisis that we've had since this virus has been out and about. I mean, he has really tried to assist the American people, I believe. I mean, I will say that for him. And I don't see, honestly, that he's done any worse than any other president before us. I just don't. Some presidents haven't done any worse, but they haven't done anything for the people either. You know, they were just kind of sitting there drawing their paycheck going, okay, Congress, whatever you say. You know, at least Trump has stood up and said, no, I think it should be this way. Well, if, you know, it's one man against the entire Congress, you know, you figure 2 representatives from each state, blah, blah, blah. You do the happy math. How many people are in Congress? Well, you know, and they vote him out and then want to blame him. The American people blame him for it. It's not always the president's fault. Look at your congressmen. Look at your senators. Those are the people that take your ideas to the Capitol. Okay. Quick government politics lesson here. It always starts right in front of you. You know, by the time it hits the White House and the President of the United States, it's already went through 1 million people, and they only present him with the things that they vote in. It goes to them. It goes to Congress before the president even sees it. Okay. The bill, it's called putting the bill in front of Congress. I'll just make it on layman's terms. You put the bill in front of Congress. Congress goes over it. They argue, bicker about it back and forth. Blah, blah, blah. They should go on and no, or we can't afford it. You know, blah, blah, blah. debating over our lives is what they're doing. Tax money, where it should go, what have you, whatever's on the agenda for that day. And then if they decide, okay, well, we approve this, we think it's a good idea, blah, 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 then they send it to the president. It's already passed. Now, the president can veto it. He can say, no, I am dead set against this. It's not going to happen. He has that right. But most of the time, they don't do that because it is bucking the system. Or they just say, well, you know, all these people in Congress already decided that it's not a good idea. Well, I'm a busy man. Congress is basically the secretary for the president. So the president of the United States, a lot of times never even sees what pushes out of Congress, what comes through and goes back out of Congress. I'm telling y'all. Some people were not even in protest and they were there video. Okay, yeah. Girl lived not far from there and walking home, and they attacked her and beat her almost to death. See? There's nothing peaceful about that. And I honestly don't even think that Trump would condone that behavior. I'm sure that is not what he meant when he made that tweet. Although making the tweet in the first place was pretty irresponsible. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. What ensued afterwards was the people's fault. The people that took this sort of action, you know, whatever excuse they want to use, you know, they still knew that they shouldn't be doing it. I think that it was because they didn't want to accidentally shoot people that were doing anything wrong. Well, and unfortunately though, that's the casualties of war. And as a police officer, when something like that goes down, you do not have the time to stop and ask people for identification and what they're doing there. You don't have time for that crap. At this point, it's guilt by association. If you're standing there with that crowd that is raising havoc, that is hurting and possibly even killing people, they don't have time to say, well, are you doing this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this? When there's 200 people there raising hell. They don't have time. You're taught to react, to think fast. You don't have time. So whatever their reason for being there, they shouldn't have been there, is what I'm getting at. The White House has cameras all over it. I assure you. Those gates have cameras. There's cameras up in trees. There's cameras everywhere. They didn't need to be there videotaping. First of all, they're putting themselves in harm's way. What in the hell were they thinking? You know, oh, I'm just a wannabe reporter, so I'm out here snapping pictures. Well, first of all, these people are not going to want to be on camera. So if they see you doing that, you're going to be a target. Are you an idiot? Don't even go there, you know. If they got shot, they got shot. You know, they're sticking their noses and their physical being in a place where shit's going down. And if you're not one of those people wearing a uniform, then you're with the other ones, is the way they look at it. They're getting stuff off TikTok and their social media and turning it into the FBI so they know who to arrest. And that's good. There's a good thing when the social platforms may help. But then you've got somebody sitting up there at Facebook that's, I don't know, looking through videos, and a lot of these, they may decide, well, that's violent, we don't want it on there, and not put it on there. So that bit of information that could have very easily been used against someone and to convict someone that has done something horrible, it's just disappeared because Facebook thought it was, you know, not good. To me, they're destroying evidence, you know. And I don't mean Facebook as a whole. I don't think that Facebook itself should be fined. I think the individual that did it should be fined and jail time. Well, let's not forget to live stream his son did while the riots were going on, playing music, talking about fighting, and it shows Trump standing there just watching the riots. Trump was standing in the White House watching them. See, I didn't watch any of this. I don't. When something goes down like that, I'll wait a while, then I'll watch it because I just get too mad. Music was blaring and people were dancing during the riots at his tent. See, that's so immature to do with the so-called voter fraud, and they were all communicating on Parler. Oh, yeah, I figured that'd be the case. Congress and Senate had paid for buses to bring these people to the Capitol. Well, you lost me there. You mean the protesters that Congress and Senate paid? Well, Congress is the Senate, but for buses to bring these people to the Capitol. Some of those idiots were even running up to reporters, giving their names and telling what they saw when they were. One stupid girl came back with an onion in a towel, whopped it all over face, saying that they maced her and she was storming the Capitol because it was a revolution, and gave her name. I mean, I get it, but watching that girl get shot and die was a bit just. Well, I'm sure it was, but that's hey, I'm sorry, you're declaring war. That's the only way you look at it. When you do something like this, you are declaring war on the people within that White House. And being that a federal building, you're also pretty much declaring war on the United States, as some people would look at it. But you're definitely declaring war on the people inside that building when you approach like that. Yes. So what's going to happen in war? People are going to get killed. Well, I haven't seen that anything like that, but I haven't been looking for it either. I mean, yeah, that was just absolutely the wrong way to go about this. I mean, I'm not in any way ever going to excuse it. I can't even think of a good thing except stupidity to excuse it. It's not excusable. It's not acceptable. You just don't do shit like that. I don't get it. There's some of them got they're free because some Congress and Senate pay for the buses to bring them there. See, I don't understand why they would do that. Why in the hell would Congress pay for them to be bused there? I mean, people do have the right to a peaceful protest, but nothing in that Constitution says that American taxpayers' money pays for their bus rides there. Yeah, I have a feeling, honestly, that, well, and I'm not saying none of that's true, because there's a lot of crooked people in the Senate too, I assure you. They're there for their own agenda, not the people's. You can bet on it. But I don't understand what they were trying to accomplish. If that is the case, What in the hell were they trying to accomplish? What was the point they were trying to get through having these people brought there? I mean, what could possibly be anything that would come of that? And if they are proven to have aided and abetted this sort of thing, they should go to the federal penitentiary. That's funding terrorism. They can sugarcoat it and call it something else, but if that is proven that she done that, or that anybody involved with her doing that, that's funding terrorism. You're a terrorist. She's as much of a terrorist as the ones that climbed over that fence, and should be punished accordingly. If that's true facts. I mean, I get it. It was still distressing enough, though, that actually is the penalty for sedation. It's getting shot to death, but still watching a person die like that is just, yeah, it is. I'm a different type of person, Lady Blue. Um, I hate to sound crappy, but if I was to see during something like this, um, if I was to see that going on, I just wouldn't have any pity. I'm sorry. Um, she shouldn't have been there. I mean, I am sorry that all the events leading up to the main event, whatever made her decide to go there. I'm sure she didn't think that it was. People don't understand what a major scale that they rise themselves to, that they climb themselves up to when they pull something like this. Um, of all the terrorism going on around the world that we see on the news, and the when our twin towers fell, and the Oklahoma City bombing, and this just recent bombing in Tennessee. People have to think logically. I mean, there's things I get upset about too. I may not like, something my neighbor done. Does that mean that I'm gonna, we may have gotten to whatever the fight might have been about. Does that mean that I'm gonna get so pissed off and ate up by it that I'm gonna go over there and storm her house and threaten her or hurt her, threaten her with bodily harm and expect her not to retaliate? I'm in her home. She has a gun and shoots me. Now, do I or do I not deserve that? Yes, I do. Because I broke into her house and I started crap with her. Well, I don't support Trump, have been encouraged to stay away from places and events like that so they don't clash with Trump supporters. I think what they were trying to do was bad enough and make a big enough state to get martial law declared so Trump stayed in office. So, well, that's not going to happen. Do you know how desperate of times we would have to be in for martial law to be declared? I know everybody throws that up, but how many of them, even saying those words, actually know what martial law means and when it is implemented? Probably not. It's just a big word they know and they want to throw it around. martial law is something nobody wants to be in, I assure you. Everybody thinks it's the answer to everything. Well, we can get the president out this way, or we don't have to do this and do that. Let me tell you, living under martial law would be like living in a completely different foreign country. It'd be like an American living over in Saudi Arabia. I'm telling you, you don't want martial law. You think you're dictated on how to live now. You wait till martial law if it ever goes into effect. You don't want that. I assure you. Read up on it. Read up on what it is before these people start throwing that damn word around, or that, statement around. I mean, look, I've seen people that have been shot as bad, been stabbed, but I've never actually seen someone get shot. Well, see, I have, so. Yeah, now that was horrible. Yeah. Passed when I worked at the nursing home, but it's not the same thing. Yeah, it's not the same thing at all. But and it's a horrible thing, I've been sitting just 2 tables over from someone in a bar one time that got shot. Yeah. And honestly, some of their blood splattered all the way over to where I was sitting. It was pretty horrific, I assure you. A night I'd just soon forget about, but we'll never. But I'm telling you, people just need to use common sense. There's a lot going on in this world right now, and people don't need to make it worse. I don't know what they're all in an uproar about anyway. Times change. President can't stay, or Trump can't stay in there forever. Yeah, he might have got to do another term, but I don't know. I'll probably have to redo this video on what I originally made it for. Because I think if YouTube, I'm just exercising my freedom of speech. So honestly, they don't have any right, and I'm not a terrorist or even making terrorizing threats. So they shouldn't take it down. They shouldn't take the video down, because then they're impeding on my freedom, my First Amendment. But yeah, that was just crazy. If they're all upset, they can go about shit in a different way, But that's why we vote. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. Be fucking adults and accept that. That was just. It's honestly a true wonder that a lot more, if not all of them, did not get killed, or at least shot. That's some pretty serious shit right there when you go breaking into the White House. When people are using their heads, I figured they would fight with a bunch of people that didn't support Trump, and it would be enough to get it declared. No, that ain't near enough to get it declared. They wouldn't even think of implementing it just because of something that small. That's actually, even though it's not good at all, it's a very small scale. Something extremely drastic would have to happen for martial law to go into effect. And I'm not going to say any possibilities, because I don't want to give any idiots ideas. But I'm telling everybody, and I know, and I'm not saying, that everybody should carry a gun and go out and just kill everybody because you got into a fight over a parking spot at Walmart. Good grief. That is not all what I'm saying. But I was actually glad but worried at the same time when um, I heard the open carry law got passed, because I'm telling you, and this is my main reasoning for that, for being glad. Okay, say I'm a single woman, I live by myself, and somebody breaks in my house. Okay, first of all, you don't know what they're there for. Okay, you don't know if they're just going to want to come in and rob you and leave, or if they see you there thinking, oh well, I can rape her while I'm at it. And then it goes to their head, well, she knows what I look like. She can identify me. So then it moves up to a different level, murder, so that person can't identify them. You never know how bad things are going to get. So I like the idea of being able to protect myself in my home. If somebody comes in my house, now I will still wait. It would be a last resort for me to actually shoot someone. Um, I know I would not want to. I mean, that's a horrible thing to have to do, is to shoot somebody. But there's where self-preservation comes in the picture. Um, you don't want to die either, So what are you going to do? I, myself, would probably shoot them. And I should have every right to do that. They're in my home, uninvited. They're stealing from me and threatening me with bodily harm. That is an open and cut, dried case of self-defense. Then, of course, you've got some that are going to abuse it. Um, like I said, they'll be, carrying their guns around and get mad at somebody because somebody stole a parking spot and start shooting at their car. Stuff like that. Because people cannot be responsible. They just, you've got some out there that just do not have the sense the goddess gave a goat. They don't think straight. And there's no way to actually, and now some states, I believe, are implementing it's a test you take to, test your level of, I can't think straight right now how to put it, but it's a test that determines whether or not you're mentally capable of wielding a weapon. Because it doesn't take crap to go get one. And, the ATF can go and make all these rules and for people to follow and blah, blah, blah. They can censor shit, gun owners and gun shops and, have all these rules for them to go by. I'm sorry, but if somebody wants a gun bad enough, even in the United States, they know where to get them. You're not going to keep the guns out of their hands. The only way to do that would be stop making the damn things. Isn't that pretty simple? But no, they won't do that. Poor Mrs. Winchester. I'll tell you what, if I ever get back to California again, and probably the only way I would go would be to go to the Winchester mansion. I really want to go there. But that poor woman was tormented all her days after her husband, created the Winchester rifle. I mean, she took everybody that ever got shot by one of them rifles to heart, and it just turned her into a Goonie bird. I mean, that's why she was building her house the way she was. And it never stopped construction until the day her heart stopped. Because she just figured that, she thought that all the spirits of the people that had been killed by one of her husband's rifles were coming back to haunt her. But I don't know. I tell you, this world is, I can't say the world, it's the people on it, you know? They just really need to start using their friggin' heads. We have a due process, we have avenues, to explore. And I understand that, like I said, tensions are just extremely high everywhere about everything right now. I swear, people aren't happy unless they're raising hell or bitching about something, you know. Um, yeah, there's a lot that goes on, and there's a lot of things I'm not very happy with either. Um, I'm not always going to be happy with everything. That's just the way it is. That's the way of life. And no amount of me going out there wielding a gun is going to change that. Um, what it all boils down to is we all have to live here. Why make it, harder than it has to be? Um, everybody, says, "Well, I'm afraid for my child to play out in the yard because somebody's going to kill them or come out and steal them." Um, this goes right back to my ideas about punishment being more harsh. Yeah, I guarantee you, if we would make the punishment more harsh and implement it, use it, a lot of this stuff, if not go completely away, would cut way the hell down. You know, um, I don't know why that we as American people think it's wrong, to put somebody in the electric chair that went out there and kidnapped a little 6-year-old girl and put her through living hell, raped her. The goddess only knows what else he done to her before he finally brutally killed her. But oh no, we should not kill him. Bullshit. Bullshit. It wouldn't bother me a bit. How do you think that poor little girl felt? What do you think that poor little girl would say? Why aren't you defending me? Why are you protecting him? Yeah. Hell no, it wouldn't bother me to watch him fry. Guarantee you, if more of that kind of thing happened, we'd have a lot less of this shit going on. I'm all for the death penalty. And I do understand, I know what a lot of people are going to be saying. But what if they're really not guilty? Okay. And you're correct. There have been a lot of people that did a lot of time and even put to death and later on were found to be not guilty. First of all, that was years ago. Nowadays, we have too much DNA we have too many ways to prove that that person, if they didn't commit the crime, they were there. They were on the scene when it was committed. So even though they didn't commit it, they know who did. You see what I'm saying? To me, they're just as guilty as the one that did it because they were there and allowing it to happen. If a person is proven guilty beyond the shadow of a doubt in a court of law and they're sentenced to death, they should be killed. Understand the evidence. I mean, that's pretty serious shit, but so is having somebody behind bars for the rest of their life. I don't know. I think if it was me, up to me, the death penalty would be a better way to go. I don't think I'd want to be kept behind bars for 40 years. No, I think I would rather just die. So actually, that's an easy way out. It was pretty evident that people were seriously lacking common sense. Well, hell yeah. I mean, there's no smarts in that at all, anywhere, no shape, form, or fashion. And I don't care how they want to condone it. It's not condonable. It was just stupid as stupid comes. Or people wouldn't recognize your voice or one of your tattoos and for you on special food while you're in prison. Yeah. As they say, the punishment should fit the crime. Or, now, to me, of course, and I'm sure to everybody else, there are different levels of criminals. Now, and what's odd, and I'm sure it all comes down to the judge that presides over the case. Some of them, well, you can just tell because the law states this and this and that can be done. It doesn't say it has to be. It's pretty much how a cheat sheet for the judge to go by. It says, okay, well, this can be given, this can be given, this and this can be given, and so on, as punishment for this crime. So the judge can pick one or all of them if he wants to, per se, quote unquote, throw the book at them. That's what that means. That's literally speaking the book, the words in the book, or the punishment in the book, and you're throwing it all at them. You're throwing everything they can give you for that crime that's stated allowable under the law. You see what I'm saying? Just throw the book at them. Okay, anyway, little lesson there. But they don't have to do that. They can give one or two of them, 3 or 4, however they want to do it, however they want to implement. They have that right. Judges, some people may think that they go in their chambers and say, okay, well, he did this, and they're sitting there, within themselves weighing these options and blah. No, they have let's just say a book of rules that they have to follow when pronouncing a sentence or handing down a sentence. So that's why that you'll see different judges do different things. It's all within their power. And I used to think it's funny because, as somebody extremely close to me did a lot of time in the penitentiary. And when I was reading the charges, and even whenever I worked as a detention officer, would read the charges. And it is kind of weird how they word them. Like, oh, they have this big long word, and I'm going blank right now. Commission of a cell phone in the process of a felony, or they don't even say cell phone. They say a something, something, something. They have this big, long, drawn out word or sentence for a cell phone. But that's how it's written when it's legally put in a court document. While facilitating a felony is how they put it. But they will charge for that. Anything in that crime that they can give you more time for, they'll do so. Using the cell phone in the commission of a felony. The vehicle, the getaway vehicle, could be considered blah, blah, blah. They could use that as a weapon even if they wanted to. Every little bitty thing. So you've got this one big, huge charge. Maybe this person is actually going to court for murder. And by the time they come out of court and they're sentenced, they have all these little tiny things underneath them. And I myself used to say, why bother with it? They've gotten a 40-year sentence for this murder. Who cares about the probationary period for a cell phone? You know, using a cell phone in the commission of a felony. None of that even makes sense. But what it boils down to is it adds more time, or it adds more probation. There's reasons that they're there. It's just that it has to be explained to you in a certain way. But anyway, I don't know, but I do know people need to calm their asses down. I mean, that was just ridiculous, and I don't know. I realize that everybody's on, high alert right now. There's so much going on, First, we had the Black Lives Matter movement that had everybody in an uproar and, pretty much turned the world upside down, or our world anyway. And then, we got the virus floating around, and now these people pull this shit, and then the bombing in Tennessee. I mean, it's all about people making really pucked up decisions, choices, and it's not good for them or anybody else. Did those people that stormed the White House, did they accomplish anything? No. They succeeded in getting one girl killed. And yes, I say they. She got her own ass killed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to her family. Not that they'll ever see my YouTube channel. But I am sorry about her life being gone. Yes. But that's what happens. When you declare war, you better expect to possibly be killed. That's just all there is to it. If I walk up to you and I, just double up my fist and punch you in the face, are you not going to hit me back? Or am I thinking when I go in there, okay, I'm going to knock the shit out of this person. They won't hit me back. Yeah, they will. What do you expect? There could not, the way they went about this, even if they were upset, even if they thought they were wronged, I don't know how, but whatever their weird way of thinking, and there had to have been a leader. There's always that one that gets together and rallies everybody else that is like-minded and gives them even more, they give them power. You see what I'm saying? Um, they feed the fire that's already burning inside that person until they'll follow them. And they lead them right into a shitstorm. I mean, I don't know what to tell people. If you don't want to get shot, don't storm the White House. Pretty damn simple. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Yeah, you cannot expect any kind of sane result from an insane action. It's just not going to happen that way. We're like serious lacking common sense. Yeah. Why in the world would you want to go paint yourself, put on horns and animal skins just to sit and dance? Yeah. They was going to cover up the facial recognition and stuff. No, he just wanted his 15 minutes of fame, I guess, and he got it. People like attention, whether it's negative or positive, or people wouldn't recognize your voice. Yeah. But I guess one or two members of Congress had been unlocked. Two members of Congress had been unlocked. Retweet. I'm not understanding that. What do you mean? I don't know what that means. Unlocked, retweet. One or two members of Congress have been unlocked. I don't know what that means. I mean, on Twitter during the riots, telling people where Nancy Pelosi was, so they're going to get in trouble. Oh, okay. And one freshman congressperson had all the panic buttons in their office removed and didn't know it until the riot happened and she was evacuated to her office. How in the hell were all the panic buttons removed? See, that right there shows you the White House security ain't shit. Unless it's, a bad apple in the barrel. Unless the White House has somebody in there, that's not on the White House's side, should I say, and removed them. I don't know how else anybody could have removed any panic button. And I don't even think they would have done it if she asked them to. Time to brush my hair. It's dry enough now. So I don't know how that happened. They were on an unlocked Twitter feed live telling people Nancy Pelosi was sitting on their Twitter during riot saying where she was at or where they had evacuated her and the vice president to. Oh, well, that right there is a major breach in security. So, that's something within the White House and their forum that they're going to have to deal with, you know. The infamous wolf in the chicken coop. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Now, I'm not saying that the congressmen and women always make the right decisions either. Not in my own way of thinking. But, that's why you have a right to vote. You vote these Congress people in there, you know? I mean, the American people can't vote them in and then bitch about them the whole time they're in office, don't like what they're doing, you know? Um, when it comes, that's one way to get them out of the White House. Don't reelect them. Or get them out of the Senate, don't reelect them. But the thing is, half these people out there bitching and moaning and doing these riots aren't even registered to vote. I guarantee you, if they did a survey on how many of these people are actually registered voters, you might be surprised. But then they want to go up there and bitch and moan about something. I don't get it. But then I never will, because that's just not the way I'm made up. I just don't. Yeah, there's a lot that I think could be changed about the way things are done in this country. But, it's the majority of the people that wins, who, the best vote or whatever. So, I mean, and of course, that's the only way it can be done. What's best for everybody, what everybody wants, not necessarily that it's best for everybody, but what everybody can agree on, pretty much. My hair. This is the bad part about after I wash it, is having to brush it out. Ow, ow, ow. So, I don't know. No one seems to know how her panic buttons are removed. She didn't know until the riot that they had all been removed. Wow. And so where's the cameras in her office? There's cameras in there. Wouldn't take but a second to look it up unless somebody turned them off. If somebody turned off the cameras, then that's somebody in security. Need to be looking at them. Just saying. There's a rat, at least one, in the White House. I don't know. I don't know. It's all crazy. But, and here lately I've been seeing, I don't know if it's just me that notices them or if I'm just paranoid or whatever. I wouldn't call it paranoid. I'd call it extremely cautious. But if you'll notice, well, I like to call them MREs, and that's all they are. You hear all these commercials about these food crates that have the dehydrated food in them for survival. They're survival kits. And you can buy them in the cases now. The meals. Well, that's all MREs are. Those are just new age MREs. Same as was given in World War I, II, in Vietnam. That's what they're selling online now because everybody is just so sure that things are going to get extremely horrible. And people need to be prepared. Of course, there's always been those kind of people. I guess you can call them conspiracy theorists. But you know, I'm not beyond believing them here lately. I mean, there's some pretty crazy shit going on, you know. But you know, when people think of terrorism, they think of you know, someone from another country coming over here and terrorizing us. Well, that's not the case right now. It's happening right here. Our own people are doing it. She didn't ask them to. She didn't know. Asked them to. She didn't know until she went to hit one and noticed it was married as well as the other panic buttons because I guess those new members had only been in there for a few days. Well, now that those dumbasses have committed felonies, they can't vote or have guns. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I don't, and that would actually, like I said, you know, and they want to bitch about America. If they'd have pulled this shit in another country, they would have been put up against the wall and shot. If not, put in a penitentiary. You think American people want to bitch about American penitentiaries? They ought to be, you know, in just regular jail in another country, much less the penitentiary system or the penal system over there. And then you have some places that don't even have institutions, I'll put it that way, you know, jails or prisons, because they deal with it immediately. You know, some places, if you're caught stealing, you get your damn hand cut off. You know, you get caught murdering, you're a dead man. You know, I mean, and honestly, these places have a lot less crime than the United States does. My older brother was in National Guard and he brought one home to me thinking he was trying to teach me a lesson and it backfired. Although that peanut butter would be a good form of insulation around your window cracks. The chicken lacking tasting like salt and pepper and hot sauce. Yeah. Them MREs aren't bad though. I'm telling you. They're and when you're hungry, trust me, they're wonderful. And they last forever. Damn near it. I mean, I don't even know, but they would outlive you, I assure you. But you know, it's just sad that it's coming to this, and it's the people doing it to themselves. Is what's so pathetic. Um, and you can't fix stupid. Unfortunately, you know, there's just no fixing stupid. He was trying to make me be grateful when I was complaining about the blind squirrel food. I told him, I said, it's still better than the blind squirrel. Yeah. Well, you know, there are a lot of people out there that live every day. They already have bunkers set up, places to go. What have you. you know, have all these MREs, have water stocked up. I actually know several people that do and where it's at. So if anything goes down, I have a place to go. You know? I don't know. It's pretty scary. Um, it can definitely cause you to have major anxiety and panic attacks if you sit and think too long. Um, just don't think about it too long. All you can do really is be prepared and be prepared to protect yourself and your family, you know. I mean, of course, you should always be ready to do that, you know, not just in, um, yeah, you said Democrats want to steal your gun, so you go out and commit a felony knowing full well that a felony is removal of your weapons. It is, yeah, exactly. Yeah, felons cannot carry guns. And I'm pretty damn sure that was a felony, what they done. Number one, it's a federal building, major federal building. They're all major, but the White House, come on. I don't even know what they thought they was gonna fucking accomplish. I don't know. Um, you know, in a perfect world, it would be wonderful. Some of the other witches have talked about it too. You know, everybody just putting all their money together, buying a humongous piece of land, and building houses and just starting our own little town. It would end up like a town. It couldn't be just a little community. You know, I mean, there are a lot of witches out there. But to me, I'm still really a walk on the cautious side of that because even though there's strength in numbers, there's also mass murder in numbers. I mean, something, you know, just don't seem right with putting all your eggs in one basket. Does that make sense? Um, you know, because word would definitely get out. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, if an Amish community, and this is just an example I'm using because the Amish have their own little establishments, their own little towns, I guess, as you would call them. Um, you know, everybody knows where the Amish community is. You know, they'll say, well, right outside town here, you can go to the Amish community and buy your jellies or your jams or whatever they're, you know, that they sell. The same would be in a witch community. They say, well, there's a bunch of damn witches live out here about 5 miles outside of town. Let's go, you know, we're bored tonight. Let's go raise hell with them. Let's go see how many of their houses we can burn down. The only difference is, thankfully, nowadays, it doesn't matter what we call ourselves. We're human beings and we're American citizens. So you don't have the right to come on our property and drag us out by our hair and burn us at the stake. You don't have that right anymore. And even though we're women, most of us, I've been noticing a lot more males here lately, by the way, that have come into witchcraft. But You come on our property, you're liable to get shot. We're still American citizens. We're not felons. We have the right to bear arms, and we have the right to shoot your ass if you're coming on our property threatening us. You know, we don't no longer have to stand back with your idiocy and you kidnapping us or whatever it is you want to do and killing us because we're witches. You can't do it anymore. Although some of these religious fanatics would try it, I'm sure. You'd see it in the headlines. Which community? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't know. It's it's actually pretty scary. And it's not anything but except for the fact of what right now what the Americans are doing to themselves. Like I said, these are Americans that are doing this. We can't blame this on, like I said, a lot of people say terrorists automatically think of a foreign person coming over here and doing this, to our country. Well, this is right within ourselves. This is the American people. And if they go, well, I don't ever want to hear, well, we stormed that building for you. No, you did not. Hell no, you did not. I don't condone that. I don't stand for that. And don't stereotype me, and put me in that category with you because that's not me. Yes, our government could be improved without a doubt. I'm sure of it. I know it can be. But that was just completely the wrong way to go about it. And everybody's blaming it on Trump, saying that he initiated the riot, that he okayed it. He pretty much told people it was okay. Well, I guess it all depends on how you interpret that tweet he put out. Um, it's like anything else, If I was to say to you, um, Lady Blind Wolf, it just wouldn't bother me a bit if so and so, had their head blown off. Okay, I've made a statement. Okay. Um, you look at that statement and you think really high of me, you believe in me, and you think or know that that is what I wish to happen. So you go out and do this. Now, what would you consider that? Okay. Just because I say something like that doesn't mean that I really want it to happen or that I'm going to implement it myself or hire somebody to do it. It's a statement I made. You know, talking amongst two friends, you know, just a conversation. Then you also have to think of the next context. What kind of mental state of mind do you have? Are you not perceiving this as something I'm just throwing a dumb statement out there, speaking my mind? I'm not wanting you to do it. And I'm not thinking in my mind that I have to tell you, now don't go do this. You know, that never crosses my mind to have to tell you that. Each person should be competent in making their own decisions, you know. So to me, that doesn't excuse if they say, well, we thought that's what our president wanted us to do. Not a good excuse. I don't care if the president had have just come out and said, I want you to go do this and that. Do you think that president is going to be able to protect you when you do this sort of atrocity? No. Are you not thinking of the consequences before you do this atrocity? No. Don't do it. I don't know about y'all, but there's very few things that I can even think of that are would be worth me having to spend the rest of my life in prison over. And that's not one of them. Now, if you hurt one of my kids, murder one of my children, or do something horrible to one of my children, I'm probably going to come after you with both barrels loaded and anything else I can put in my arsenal. I'm going to get you. I assure you. Because I'm a mother and I love my babies, and that's just the way it is. I'm going to protect them. That's one of the reasons I am here on this earth, is to protect my cubs. I will still get in trouble for that because it's still not right for me to go out and commit murder, even though I think I should have that right. Okay, but if everybody did that, think what a mess society would be in. You know, this is why you have a judge and a jury. I'll say save this taxpayers' money. Let me kill him myself. If somebody goes and rapes my daughter and murders her, heaven, forbid anything. But there's mothers out there that this has happened to. Bless their hearts. I just can't even fathom having to live through that. And I've heard some of the mothers even go, well, I pray that they'll be okay. Well, those are a lot better women than me. That's all I can say. I mean, how they find that peace enough to look at somebody that did that to their child and be able to pray for them. I don't know if that's just pure stupidity, or if they're that much of a coward, or if they're just that saintly. I honestly just don't know what to think about it. I mean, because the last thing I would be doing is praying for you. Just saying. Hell, for that matter, if you hurt my cat, if you go out and kill my cat, I'm just that way about something I love and that I feel I'm the protector of. Y'all should have seen me. I think I've told y'all about that time that dude was cutting down my tree out in my front yard. Oh, hell. I bet you that guy still talks about that to this day. I bet you anything he does. I'm probably one of his funny stories he tells in bars. Because I'm sure I can only imagine what I look like running out there. I mean, my hair I had been sleeping. So my hair was all standing up on ends, and I'm in my house shoes and my sleeping pants and my old t-shirt. And man, I went out that front door like nobody's business. I can only imagine. I mean, I was mad as hell at the time. And the last thing I cared about was what I looked like or what I was wearing. But now that I think about it, it was probably pretty damn funny. But I was serious about that tree. I didn't want that damn tree cut down. And then I got on the phone with my landlord. Did you say that was okay? She said, yeah, I told him to trim it. I said, trim it, hell. You ought to see this tree. I was livid. Oh, I got to rock for a minute. My back's hurting. Kind of going on. Okay. Yeah, some of us are trying to do cancel culture on Stand Against Witchcraft Church in Chicago. There's actually a church in Chicago that's well, now there's a Facebook group up now called Stand Against Witchcraft, and that I've done a video on. Is that where their church is? It's some new denominational church. The preacher of it is the one that has that Facebook group, Stand Against Witchcraft. And then he wonders why people get on there and they're so hateful to him. I did a video on this. I just couldn't believe it. And like I said, he wonders why all the witches get on there and they're just hateful as hell to him. It was more than just a tweet. It was a live stream that his son had done, but these idiots didn't stop to think of the long-term consequence. Exactly. That's what I was saying. You know, they're not going to get anything accomplished but getting their ass thrown in behind bars. So, and they're lucky they weren't shot dead. Well, the president shouldn't be encouraged to commit a crime, but like I said, some people are just fine. Yeah, and that's what I was saying, Lady Blind Wolf. I don't know what the exact tweet was. I guess I'm going to have to go back and look at it if they haven't removed it. But it doesn't mean people had to go do it. You know, they're still responsible for their own actions. No, he should never have pretty much ordered that, or, you know, put it out there to where he wished it would happen. He's inciting a riot. And he should have known that. Hell, he's the president of the United States. He knows about all this stuff. He damn sure knows of current and world affairs. That's how shit gets started, you know. But some people think that man is God and they have to obey their God, and they claim to be Christians and they're practicing idolatry because they're worshiping a person over Jesus. Yeah, see, I'm not even getting into all that. It's like that old saying about if someone so jumped. Yeah, exactly. I remember when I was a little girl and Mama said, well, why'd you do that? Whatever it was I did. And I'd say, because so-and-so did. Well, if so-and-so jumped off a bridge, would you do that too? Yeah. What it is, what it honestly is everybody thinks they're little badasses now. And once again, I'm referring to the younger generation because I'm so sorry, but most of them are total nitwit twits. They don't know their head from a freaking hole in the ground, but they want to go, you know, starting all this crap, stirring crap up, be the new generation of hellraisers. What the hell do they think they're going to accomplish that way? Nothing. They might as well sit there all day long and just hit their head on a brick wall. And now that I've said that, you watch, one of these idiots are going to go do that and blame that on me. Disclaimer: do not go bang your head up against a wall. It's a real shame that I even have to say that. It's like that I was saying about someone. Yeah. I know. And what's so sad about it is they don't get it. You know, they just don't get it. I mean, there's a lot of things I like about Trump, and there's a lot of things I don't even know how he got there. I mean, he's kind of like the definite flip side. Literally, 1 minute he's doing something, and I'm like, yes, and I'm Democrat, you know, or I'm registered Democrat. I don't care. There are still some things he's done that I was like, well, thank you for helping. You know, for once, I can't think of any other time in American history, and I'm sure there has never been another time when stimulus checks were written out to people in times of crisis, where there were laws put into effect where people could not be evicted out of their homes. Things were actually being done during this pandemic for the American people, to help them get through this crisis. You know, for once, I think a lot of us thought that our government actually seen us, knows we existed other than, you know, a number on a piece of paper in a census, and treated us as such. So all this was going good, what he created, but then these idiots have to go out there and once again, you know, nothing good can happen and everybody be sated and happy about it for a little while and let peace reign. Hell no. They have to go and stir up all kinds of other shit again. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Honestly, at times it makes me thoroughly ashamed to be considered called a human being, and sometimes even an American nowadays. This country has gotten so caught up in, well, I can do what I want, and they're throwing their amendments around like, you know, they're misusing them. You know, they're not using them near for what our forefathers wrote them out to be. I'm sure that they did not mean, you know, your freedom of speech does not mean that you invade the fucking White House of the United States of America and you think people aren't going to be threatened in that White House. I'm sorry, but I'm just honestly really surprised that a whole lot more of them weren't shot and killed. And it would be sorry about your luck on them. I just would not have no remorse for it. Oh yeah, it's your move because they banned him off pretty much every social media platform there is, even Pinterest. Yeah. Well, first of all, now you have to go back to that. Whatever he put out there. First of all, the President of the United States does not need to be on Pinterest or Facebook or any other social platform. Not because he is a human being and an American citizen himself does not have that right. The reason that he should not do that is because, I mean, if I put something out there on social media and somebody doesn't agree with what I'm saying, and, you know, they'll, you know, text back to me and they'll say, well, I don't agree with you and blah, 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 or they'll send me a shitty picture or, you know, whatever. And it's pretty much over with. The President of the United States done this, and he's inciting riots because he damn well knows that this country right now is weakened. Not necessarily in manpower or speaking in war terms. It's weakened. The people aren't united, and even nationalities aren't united. So you've got mankind not, you know, everything's starting to kind of like a pie effect, like cutting pieces of a pie. When you look at it as a whole, there's the American people, but then you got this slice that are the Black Lives Matter protesters, that some of them also got extremely out of line, way out of line. Then you've got this slice over here that is a per se Ku Klux Klan that is completely prejudiced. Then you got this slice over here that is Republican. This slice is Democrat. And the pieces of the pie are starting to be cut. People are starting to put themselves in categories instead of as a whole. And then this is what's dividing us. Also, what you have to stop and think, a country divided cannot stand. Now, who said that? There's you some homework. You said a country divided can never stand. You know what that means, don't you? Well, in layman's terms, that means that, well, I'm going to put it this way where I'm politically correct. What that means basically is it leaves us very vulnerable to foreign attack. Okay. If you were wanting to wage war on a country, and per se, I'm I don't know, say I'm the Queen of England. I'm sorry, Elizabeth, if you ever see this, it's just a figure of speech. I'm running a metaphor here. Anyway, per se, I'm the Queen of England, and I say, well, there sure is a lot of things over there in America that I want. I wonder how I can, I'd like to have America. I want that to be a part of the United Kingdom. Okay. And I get wind that the American people, all of America is in an uproar. Okay. This is honestly when your really false, fake, bad leaders come in. Not the Queen. I'm not talking about her. But other people will come up with outlandish ideas, whatever they may be. This is when cults are formed. People seem to have somebody to follow. They have to have a leader. Without a leader, everybody's running around like chickens with their heads cut off. You see what I'm saying? So they're looking for anybody that says anything that they want to hear, or that promises them anything that they want. They're too easily led, And if I was, like I said, one of these foreign, if I was the Shah of Iran or whatever leader in another country, you know what I'd be thinking? Now's a wonderful time to attack America. Because there's so much fighting going on in itself. Nobody would know which way's up. We could go in there and win very easily. And most of our troops have been over in, over in the desert for 1,500 years, it seems like, where they're not wanted or needed. They're needed right here on American soil. Because I have a feeling it's going to come down to a battle in some way or another. It's just things aren't looking good right now. And we need to be protected. Of course, this is one way that the American people, if they want to do something good with their guns, if we do get invaded by another country, you may have to fend for yourself. You may have to use that gun as a soldier in your own right. Because there may not be anybody around to protect you if, per se, whatever foreign nation comes over here knocking down your door. What are you going to do? Taking over your town. I don't know. Yeah, he was inciting a riot, and that's why his butt got impeached. But during that impeachment, hearing all those Congress senators are not even wearing masks correctly. Yeah, they should get the boot right along with him, and we don't need an inauguration during a pandemic anyway. What the hell? That's true too. One of the riders was an older male, so he took a taser to his testicles so he would die from a heart attack, which did to avoid prison. No shit. I didn't know that putting a taser up to somebody's testicles would give them a heart attack. See what I took out of all that? Yeah, I ain't all there either, huh? The only thing is, it only delivers X amount of voltage of a shock. Now, I was trained to use one of them at one time. Well, I guess once trained, always trained, but yes, we were trained on using tasers. And it just, it only throws out so much voltage, and then it'll stop at some point. So I don't know how that would give somebody a heart attack. I mean, if he was wanting to give himself a heart attack, or somebody give him, why didn't they just stick it right to his chest? It probably still wouldn't have given him a heart attack. I don't know. It might have. It depends on what the jolt is. I mean, when we use an AED, the adult electronic defibrillator, there's an electric current going through them paddles. But, I guess it could stop it. I just don't know why you'd want to go through the testicles if you wanted to incite a heart attack. It's a long way around. And you might survive that heart attack. Your ass is still going to prison. I don't know. People are just, they just freak me out sometimes on how stupid they can be. And it just amazes me on some of the shit that goes through their heads. And there's times I think I'm a crazy one. There's times I feel like I'm losing my freaking mind until I get on social media or I watch the news, and I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm sane as hell. And I'm sorry. I literally, I have to laugh at some of this shit. I truly do. Because it is so ignorant. I guarantee you, it's a good thing I am not the president of the United States. I would rule my country just like I do my household. Okay. Just like I do my everyday life. I will be your best friend in the entire world. I'm the type of person that will give you anything. Well, maybe not anything I have. Certain things I wouldn't, so I can't say that and be, completely honest. I would give you almost anything to help you thrive. I would feed you. If you were hungry, I'd give you clothes that I don't wear, or, go buy you clothes if you didn't have any. I would do anything in the world for you. And I have done this for people, and I have witnesses. I would invite you into my home if you're homeless, you know. Unfortunately, doing that a lot of times has done nothing but screw me. I end up getting, stolen from and um, all that shit, you know. And unfortunately, that's what ruins it for other people that are really needing a roof over their head and would love to have, um, you know, a home to go to and somebody um, to help them, to feel like they're not alone in this world. But then there's always got to be those certain people that fuck it up for everybody else. And it doesn't matter what it pertains to, whether it's what's going on right here in the United States, whether it's food banks, whether it's food stamps. Um, it doesn't matter what people do to try to help someone else. There's always somebody that's going to abuse it. Unfortunately, that's just the way it happens. Y'all, like National Guard having to sleep on the floor of the Capitol. I was telling my kids that her friend will be pulled off leave to come help handle this mess. They can do that. Yeah. Yeah. And they were training over in Korea before COVID-19. Haven't seen their families in over a year. Yeah. See, and that's another thing. I don't think our troops should ever be stationed like they have been on foreign soil. Um, I'm sure that our government has their own agenda and reasoning behind doing that. I don't see what it could be or what purpose it's going to serve, except for pissing that country off, which is pretty much what happened in Desert Storm. You know, and even Vietnam. Usually, the wars we get into is trying to mother everybody else and being everybody else's friend and going over there and fighting for what side we think is right. Who's to say we're right? We're picking sides just like that country that we're going over there to defend. So how do you determine which side is right, which side to defend? Butt out, butt out. Don't worry about what's going on in some other damn country when your own country is in shambles. You see what I'm saying? We got shit going on right here on United States soil, American soil, that needs to be dealt with. Fuck China and North Korea and South Korea. That ain't none of our business. I mean, later on, if we want to deal with it, fine, but clean up your own backyard before you take a trash can into somebody else's and start trying to clean up theirs. Pretty simple. Fix shit right here. I don't get it. I guarantee you I'd be embarrassed if I was an American soldier, and the soldier, it's not their fault. They're doing what's ordered for them to do. They can't refuse to go, and they can't turn down a direct order. So they have to do what these other idiots are telling them to do. And I don't think whenever they signed up to become a soldier that that's what their intention was. Of course, what is the intention of a soldier? To fight, if needed. But I'm sure they thought they'd be defending their own people. And they very well should be over here defending our own people against our own people. I mean, it's a war going on among us. I don't know. I can't figure it out. Yep, he took a tester to his testes, so, or taser, so he would have a heart attack, so he wouldn't have to go to prison. Well, he was an older gentleman, then I guess he had heart issues anyway. Well, then what the hell was he over there in the middle of a riot for? And yes, that's what it was a riot. That is the definition of a riot. There was nothing peaceful about that. I don't know. People are, oh, they're just, oh, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like everywhere I look right now, there's some kind of little squabble going on, or a big one, between the Christians and the witches, between amongst the American people, between the blacks and the whites, between the Indians and the whites, and of course, I mean, I guess it's been like this all throughout time, you know, since mankind developed their own thinking brains and wanted to rule and take over and thought their idea was the best way. There's always been battles. Um, no matter what it was over, whether it be a god, fighting over a certain god, or a certain way of living, a certain culture. Um, there's always been and always will be wars, unfortunately. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, in a perfect world, a perfect society, um, everybody getting on the same page and just dwelling and living in peace amongst each other, would be an excellent idea. But we all know that's not ever going to happen because people have to take over. They have their own agendas. So, I mean, it's not ever going to end. It will not end until once again mankind is no longer on this earth because we ourselves destroyed it, blew it up. The animals will once again take over the earth. And it'll go on and prosper and heal itself and be beautiful again until another upright walking idiot evolves back onto it. So what are you going to do about it? I mean, there's not much you can do about it. I mean, we're just small people. That's how I feel a lot of times. I see all this going on around me and I want so bad to do something about it. But what can I do? And I mean, you sit and think about it in the privacy and quiet of your own home. Think about, what can I do as an American citizen to help what is going on? How can I make things better or right? Most of us think, if we just sit back, it'll go away, and it will. It'll eventually fade off. When things continue to happen is when you sit at home and you think, what can I do about this? It'd be really easy for me to call up a lot of people, go out here and recruit people in my town, and then move to the next town until I have my own army accumulated and start a war right here on U.S. soil. It's really that easy to do because there's so many people out there that don't have a right thinking mind and are followers and are subject to anything anyone puts in their head. I mean, anybody can go out and do that. It doesn't make you, anybody special because you lead a small army. You find a group of like-minded people and give them ideas, and then they say, "Oh, you're awesome. You're the leader. Let's go do this." It's not that hard. I mean, look at Jim Jones. Shit he started. Can you imagine what those people were like that followed him? They weren't smart people at all. So, I mean, a lot of things might go through your mind as you're sitting and debating what you could do. But your right thinking mind says, no, don't do that. Why would you even want to do that? And immediately, the minute that the idea even pops in your head, it's usually just pushed out. It's like it never happened, I mean, you don't go do it. And most of us come to the conclusion it's best that we sit and wait it out. It'll go away eventually. It will rectify itself. And it usually does. The bad part about it is what all's going to ensue until the healing begins, I just don't think people right now need to be making things any worse than they already are, especially over a president. Ronald Reagan was awesome. He did 2 terms. Even him, if he would not have been reelected, do you think people were going to go storm the White House and act like idiots? No. It's just people don't do that. In fact, I don't know of another time during an election this has ever been done unless it happened during when the South and the North split. And you had Grant and Lincoln, or not Grant, yeah. Robert E. Lee is who it was. I'm sorry. Been a long time since I took American history. Thing that makes me mad is both sides shift their point, the fingers at each other during this pandemic, and people having to sell their own furniture to pay for family funerals. I have a friend and her husband, 23 years, died due to COVID. And she had to sell her furniture to help pay for the funeral. He had his own business, and that's how he got COVID being kept over. Well, and okay, I know that you're probably going to hate me because it always seems like I'm butting heads with you, but I'm not. I promise you I'm not. This is just how I think. Okay. Yes, that was absolutely horrible that happened to her and her family. But it's no different than anybody else down here on the street every day. You have to have burial insurance. I mean, if they own their own company, then why didn't they have some sort of life insurance policy? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry that her husband died, of course, yes, but um, as far as her, they should have had life insurance. And honestly, most funeral homes will let you pay that shit out. So, I mean, I don't know why she had to do all that. Oh, yeah. Well, I know that I don't. nobody made her do that. She decided to do that on her own, I'm sure. I mean, she had to, because I was responsible for 2 funerals, when my dad died and when my grandma died. And I just, paid them out. Nothing, in fact, I never did get my grandma's paid for because I went friggin' broke before I could, but not one time did I ever have to sell anything. We had to pay 4,000. Yeah, you have to pay for it, but it doesn't mean you have to go sell all your shit to do it. I mean, they're not going to garnish your checks and all this crap like every other stupid business does, 4,000, man, that's cheap. I think my daddy's funeral was, uh, hell, his casket alone was almost $4,000. I think his entire funeral was almost right at 12,000. I just sell a lot of his stuff in order to pay for it because my uncle wouldn't help. Yeah, yeah, now that'll happen. If they have anything worth selling, bless their hearts. By the time, I mean, my dad had been married, he was on his 5th marriage. And besides my mother, his first wife, um, between number 2 and number 3, um, he didn't have anything really when he died. So there wasn't anything to sell. I just had to pay for it. One of the funeral homes in the town that we were living in, oh yeah, they would take you to court. I mean, heck, we had 3 out of 4,000 paid off, and he was still pitching a fit. Yeah, yeah. It was, my dad died in 2010, so he's been dead. Well, as a matter of fact, next month he'll be gone 11 years. Wow, doesn't seem like that long. And then my grandma died a year after him, and I went to the same funeral home, and he just kind of raised his eyebrows up at me like, well, you still owe for this. And my grandma, bless her heart, I could not get what I wanted for her because I already owed so much. Her funeral wasn't as nice, not near as many people were there, and to me, her casket wasn't as nice. Yeah. Well, and to me, that I think funerals are way over. I'm sorry, they're just way too expensive. They don't have to be that expensive. They just don't. And I have literally, hang on a sec. Hey, I'm on YouTube. Yeah, yeah. Me and Lady Blind Wolf started talking. So, okay. All right. Bye bye. Anyway, yeah. They I forgot what I was saying. I do that. Oh yeah. Funerals are just way too expensive. They don't have to be that expensive. And I guarantee you, people are stepping away from your traditional funerals and doing things that are better for the environment. Putting them wooden boxes down in the ground is not good for the earth. And eventually, they're going to get dug up. I mean, look at society. I mean, the population's getting bigger. Everybody's constantly having to dig to uh, put up new housing and create new towns and what have you. Eventually, that shit's going to be dug up. It's not going to be there forever. They cremated him without your consent. Well, I guess after a while, you have to do something with him. So yeah, she kind of had to sell her furniture because the funeral home directors in that town are assholes, which is fine. And all that place. Well, they can be easily sued for shit like that too. You know, that's what I was gonna say. Um, I hadn't ever had to plan a funeral or deal with anything like that before in my life. And of course, this was my daddy. And me and my daddy were extremely close. Um, we were just really close. And I wanted the best for him, no doubt. Um, so I kind of probably went more overboard than I should have. There were cheaper coffins I could have got, but no, I always remembered him telling me he just put me in a pine box. That's what he always used to say. But anyway, so just a year later, when my grandma died, um, you know, the funeral director said some pretty shitty things. Um, you know, to me they were shitty. You know, he'd once he gave me the riot act that I still owed for the other funeral, and blah blah blah. Then I was picking out my grandma's coffin, and he's like, "Well," he said, because I was really penny pinching then. And they put the coffin down in a vault. It's not just the coffin sitting in the ground. It's a big cement block that it's encased in, which is, if you ask me, more clutter for the earth. But he was like, "Well, I know you want to go the cheapest way, but if you put her in this, in her coffin, the water's going to leak down in it, and her coffin will be just down there floating around in water. You don't want that, do you?" I mean, saying shit like that, like, you're going to have that image in my mind of my grandma's coffin floating around in water because I can't afford um, a certain vault that you're talking about. It should be one kind of vault, one that keeps water out. There should be different kinds of vaults. What the fuck does that even mean? You know? Anyway, I was already distraught because I just lost my daddy. Then I lost my grandmother, which I was extremely close to, and I just didn't need all that stress that he was giving me. Where am I at here? Okay. I'm trying to catch up where I left off. You might want to check out that channel, Ask a Mortician, because she talks about how there's things that they do. Oh, I know. I already knew that because my best friend, my godfather, was a mortician. I already knew how they did shit. Um, I have watched that channel, by the way. She's pretty cool. in our state, if you cannot afford a funeral, they will cremate you and wait until they get a bunch more other people that can't afford funerals cremate. Put off 10 or 12 of you in a casket and bury. Why would you even put ashes in a casket? That just don't make any damn sense. That's wasting a whole shit ton of stuff that doesn't need to be in the earth. Scatter them ashes. I don't get it. I mean everybody has their own way of burying their loved ones. I understand that. Of whatever makes them feel better. And that's all it's about. It's not about doing that because that person in that box ain't gonna feel nothing. They don't probably even care what you do with this physical body. It's no longer needed, you know. Why put it in a box and have it, there for eternity? Eventually that body will, pretty much rot away or soak into the silk lining of the coffin, and you might have some bones in there. But otherwise, you just got this big box taking up space in the earth. I don't know. It just doesn't seem um, it's just not very economical, and it's not eco-wise. It's not good for the planet. That's what I was going to say. No, we gave consent for him to be cremated. That was after his organs were donated, but because we couldn't afford a deposit, they had to cremate him. You have to deposit first, and we didn't even have the death certificate until after he passed away. You mean after he was buried? You don't get a death certificate until someone passes away, my love. Well, some of them are even different colors. I mean, why does it matter? It's going in the ground. No one's going to see it. That's what I'm saying. It's not for that person. I mean, that person don't care. It's what makes you feel good about your decision you made of taking care of your deceased loved one. And that's what these morticians and these funeral homes thrive on. That's what they count on. It's people going, oh, it's like, well, you must not have loved your daddy very well if you didn't get him this beautiful coffin. You know, what does that even mean? Why would anybody even say something to you like that? And then gripe because you can't pay for it. You see what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but I think all that shit's just a waste of money. There's a they're little. You know what those glass paperweights look like that have the sand in them, the different colors of sand, and they're really pretty. They've got a cremation thing like that now. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but these you can order them online. You pick out your own. Some of them look like a flame, which I think is the one I want. But they just look like paperweights, spun, glass paperweights with ashes in them. And whenever you die, you have your ashes put inside those, and people set them around their houses just like a knickknack. That's what I want done. And even that, even being that small, I mean, you can get them as big as you want, but even being in that, it's still creating something else on the earth. I mean, you could have, I think it's, I don't know how much room actual cremations will take for the casket, but I know you have quite a few different bags or what you have of ashes in them. Yeah. Well, honestly, the cremations that I have seen, they there's not as much. It depends, honestly, and I hate to say this, but it's the truth. It depends on the mortuaries. I went blank. I forget the oven. I'll just say the oven that they put you through. How hot it gets and how thorough it is on how much other things that you still have in that coffin when cremation's done. I think it's, I don't know how much room. Know someone that their baby died and they couldn't afford the funeral and they had like 16 other babies in the casket with theirs because they had cremated them, but it was a baby casket. I don't understand that. I don't understand. The whole point of cremation is not being in a casket. Or that would be why I would do it. So the casket wouldn't take up the earth, space in the earth. So that's kind of defeating the purpose. If you're going to have a casket there anyway, you might as well have your body laying in it, unburnt. And that right there should be against the law. I don't even know how they can get away with that. We don't have mass burials. See, but that's what I'm saying. How did that even happen? Because they couldn't pay for it? No, that can't be. They cannot legally do that. I don't know how the hell they get away with it. No, there's something wrong with that picture. But like I said, that when if you put them ashes in a coffin, you're defeating the whole purpose of cremation. Now you're going to have a box in the ground with nothing pretty much in it. I mean, something's in it. It's, a bunch of burnt dirt is what it looks like. I guess so. They can put multiple remains in there, but that's just what this state does. Exactly. They couldn't pay for their baby's funeral, so that's what they did. Well, if they're going to cremate them anyway, why not just, hell, for that matter, you can get just a little brass, like a spittoon looking thing that costs hardly any money, and put the baby's ashes in that and give it back to the parents. Or for that matter, stick them down in a plastic baggie and let the parent, scatter them where they want. See right there, they're talking about, the cost of doing things. Well, now usually they have cremation boxes or cremation coffins or their boxes. that they're shaped like, and they're made out of combustible cardboard, I think, like a really extremely thick, heavy cardboard. And they put the body in there and then slide it through. So you're actually getting cardboard. And, I'll have to relook at that because I don't know if that thing actually burns with the body. I don't think it would. I don't think that'd be very uh, kosher, to have anything mixed in with the human remains. But anyway, they use the same ones over and over. So I guess they don't burn. And they just go in there with like a little dustpan looking thing, a scoop, and scoop the ashes out. I don't know. But, it's either, I honestly think the best way to do it is just sprinkle their ashes, out over water or on a mountain or wherever you want to, out in nature. And, I may have, if, like I said, I had never had to deal with a funeral before in my immediate family, and I damn sure never had to arrange one until my dad passed away. And I was just so tore up with, wanting to do everything just right for him. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I can't stand the thought of him burning and blah, blah, blah. And I just wasn't in my right mind to be making those sort of decisions. And it ended up costing a lot of freaking money. No, they put the body in with the cardboard because the coffin has a flap, and they just basically open the flap, and the body and the cardboard or inside the coffin. Oh, so it's kind of like a sifter type thing, huh? You set it over the coffin and put the ashes in that. See, I don't see why waste the whole coffin though. It's a waste of money, space, everything. It's just a waste. If they're cremated, they don't need a coffin. And I've seen some of these cemeteries that have these big, huge, beautiful mausoleums. I mean, they're really pretty. I grant you that. But I'm sorry, it's just once people die and they leave this earth, they should leave this earth. They no longer need to be here, and cremation is, I mean, once, you pour the ashes out and the wind gets them and carries them, to me, that's more freeing. It's more a free feeling for me. I'm just, I'm going back the same way I came in, out into the atmosphere. Of course, it's just a physical body. It's not what's actually in us. And that's what most of us witches believe. This is just a meat suit, as it's called by some people. Flesh and bone and blood. Well, see, that's not how that this person done it on this show I watched. They didn't put a coffin in there like you would see, um, like most people would think. They didn't put the body in a coffin, like a big, pretty coffin, and run it through their crematory. They put them in this box. There was no coffin. It was a box, I guess, that didn't burn. It was fireproof or whatever, but I'm going to have to look that up now. That'll give me something to do in a minute. Not that I don't have enough to do, but when they take him to the crematory, they're in the coffin until they, oh, well, yeah. But then they just move the body out and put them in one of them cardboard or whatever they're made of crematory boxes. They don't run the casket through there. If that were the case, they'd never burn because those caskets won't burn. Plus all the pretty silk and stuff inside of them. They're not going to waste a whole beautiful coffin. They put them in them boxes. Crematories there with the funeral homes because he had to be taken to a different town in order to be cremated because that town didn't have one. I'll tell you what's sad, and I'll tell you a kind of a gory thing here. It's not really gore, it's just reality, it's fact. We had a lady in a nursing home, and this has happened several times. But you know, when people that are obese, they're really large people, um, uh, die, they have a hell of a time dealing with those people. I mean, it's kind of sad. They don't have any of the, you know, I'm sure they have now, but used to they didn't have, you know, they just had a normal size box that was pretty much fit all kind of people, you know. But when you've got somebody that weighs 500-600 pounds, um, it is a major task to get them in something that they can cremate them in and go from there. I mean, I'm not going to tell all the gory details, but it's not a good thing. Hi, Turkish princess. How are you? We're just sitting here gabbing. I've already said all the stuff that I originally started the video about almost 4 hours ago. Lady Blind Wolf, I've been on here almost 4 hours. Can you believe that? I'm good, sweetheart. How are you? Yeah, that's what I was saying. They put them in the cardboard box. Oh, that's okay. I usually don't come on here till about 3 o'clock. I thought, well, if I come on early, then I'll get to talk to some more people. But I forgot to. It was Friday night. People are probably out partying or doing something. But yeah, me and Lady Blind Wolf were just sitting here talking about. Well, we went from the protesting and through the what the branches of government are and aren't supposed to do, and war and death, and now we're at funerals. So we've had a rounded conversation in the last almost 4 hours. I cannot believe I've been on here almost 4 hours. The coffins are reusable. They just use them for transport. He was taken to the crematory. Oh, yeah. Put him in with a cardboard. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Huh. Okay. I gotta get a pop, y'all. Excuse me a minute. But yeah, anyway. Well, I lost someone. I don't know who it was. A lot of, they're back. Anyway, yeah. Uh, I think I just want to be putting one of them little, like either an hourglass. I think that would be neat. Of course, leave it up to me to be creative, even, with my remains. I mean, I won't be in them, of course. I'll be out in Summerland or wherever the goddess decides I'm needed next. Our state got in trouble once because there was an obese lady that died in her home. They had no means of a hearse for her because of her obesity. Well, and I don't know why your state got in trouble. I mean, it's really not their fault. I mean, that shit costs money to build and make, and for something you might use once every 10 years or 20 years. So basically had to put her on a flatbed truck and cover her up the best they could and drive her. Yeah. To the morgue or funeral home. Yeah. That's what I was saying. It's pretty sad to watch these obese people. I mean, when they come and got the lady out of the room, of course we go in there and clean the body up, put fresh sheets, all that. And then, the funeral home pretty much just comes in and takes them off the bed that they're in and puts them on the gurney. Well, this literally took, we had people all around her underneath, sheets. She was laying on top of these sheets, like draw sheets, like we use. Except there was two sheets, and they were just open, spread across the bed. It wasn't just a draw sheet, because a draw sheet just goes, from the top of the back of your neck to right below your buttocks. Sometimes, mid the back of your thighs, to be lifted or turned or however. But we had to, because of what was going on, we had to use the whole sheet, both of the sheets. And we had to use two of them so they wouldn't tear and accidentally, her fall on the floor. That would have been horrible. But we like to have never, I mean, and you have to put, there's even one side of her that isn't being lifted by anyone because the gurney's there up against the bed. That way you can just kind of, take her and try to slide her over onto that. it was not an easy task. And I felt so sorry for her. And if she would have been so embarrassed, she was a wonderful, sweet lady. And she would have been so embarrassed if she could have seen, what we were going through with her body. But, and when we did get her on there, each side was still hanging over that gurney quite a ways. I mean, it was just horrible. I felt really sorry for her. And take your ashes down. They could make glass spheres with your ashes. That's what I was saying. That's what I was talking about, having mom put in one of those spheres. They've got ones that look like flames. Wow. Yeah, I've had all kinds of people, think of all kinds of, they're creative to the end, ways to get, dispose of their ashes. My ex mother and father-in-law, well, when my father-in-law died, he was cremated, but they still put the urn. They had an urn, and from what my husband told me, there was a coffin. They put the urn in the coffin, which I didn't think made any sense at all whatsoever. That just don't make any sense. But and then when his mom died, that she was going to be put in there with him. They're going to pretty much dig him up, reopen the coffin, and then put her ashes, her urn in there with him, and then rebury it. None of that made any sense to me, but I wasn't going to sit there and argue with him. Come to find out, when we got there for after the funeral, she brought her husband home in the urn. And then my husband was like, "Oh, Mom, I thought you were gonna bury him today or whenever." And she's like, "No, I guess she wanted to keep him there with her for a while because he died around. Well, he died at the end of middle of September, and at Christmas time, she decided she wanted to actually put him out in the cemetery, which just fucked up my whole Christmas. It's like, really, of all the times a year you have to do this at Christmas time? You've been hanging on to these ashes since, the middle of September. You couldn't wait till after the first of the year? Just wait one more week? It's not something anybody wants to do. And I mean, she chose to do it this way, to bury him pretty much right around Christmas. But whatever. Or, not bury him, but whatever she did. Person died. Ashes. Anyway, yeah. People come up with all kinds of course, my luck. Me and my son are pretty close, or really close. Me and my daughter, but neither one of them are very responsible, especially my son. I mean, that boy can barely keep up with his underwear and socks, much less my ashes. And my daughter would probably forget that was me and sell me at a garage sale or something. Oh no, I just told my mom. Because they're really pretty trinkets. I mean, until you actually, or knickknacks, should I say, until you actually walk up to them and start reading they have an inscription on there, like a little tiny plaque. They have different ways of doing that too. I would probably have mine on the bottom of it where it sits down. They look like knickknacks. I mean, like I said, until you turn it upside down and look at it, you don't know that that's what that is. So, down through the years, after my daughter may pass it down to my granddaughter. And after that, there's no telling where I'll end up. You know what I'm saying? Somebody may get a haunted knickknack. That's funny, yeah. I don't know, but I guess I better get off here. Gosh, I've been on here for 4 hours. I can't believe that. Wow. I haven't been on one this long since I did tarot readings for that many hours. And I guarantee you I won't ever do that again. I was wore out for 2 days after all that reading and for that long. Ugh, my energy level was zilch. But yeah, I'm gonna get off here and I'll probably play one of my games for a little bit and I'll probably go to bed. So I love you, girl. Thanks for getting on here and chatting with me. And Turkish Princess, I guess she left. But either way, I will talk to y'all later on.